Okay, guys. So you have a test on Thursday?
What?
What? This is the last thing I'm teaching. I told you I was giving you that was a quiz.
That's the last thing you're teaching?
What? No, this is the last thing I'm teaching before the test. No, because Taylor cut me off. She's so...
A quiz and a test are the same thing.
No, they're not.
You are testing our knowledge.
One's a formative, one's a summative, one's worth more in the grade book.
But you're still testing our knowledge.
Yes.
Wait, can we still take this quiz?
Yeah, till Tuesday next week. Okay, so, guys, you want to quiet down? So, we're graphing rational functions today. The first step is to simplify the function if possible, so cancel out any factors if I can, and then list any domain restrictions when I'm simplifying. Then I want to find and plot the y-intercepts. Then I want to find the zeros of the numerator and plot those as x-intercepts. Then I want to find the zeros of my denominator and plot those as vertical asymptotes, and then find and sketch any other asymptotes I might have, so like horizontal asymptotes. And then I want to plot at least one point between and one point beyond each x-intercept and vertical asymptote, and then use smooth curves to complete my graph. So number one wants me to sketch this graph by hand. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I can't simplify it, so I'm going to find my y-intercept. Y-intercepts are when x equals 0. So if I plug in 0, do I get an x-intercept? Why not? Yeah, it's divided by 0, so no y-intercept. Then my next step is to find the zeros of the numerator, so the top part, and those are going to be my x-intercepts. So I take the numerator and set it equal to 0. On number 2, I was looking for y-intercepts, and that's where x is 0. On any graph, the y-intercepts are where x is 0, so that's why I plugged in 0. Okay. Then I want to add 1 to both sides, so I get 2x equals 1. And then I want to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. So I get x equals 1/2 for my x-intercept. So I'm going to plot that on the graph. My next step is to find the zeros of the the denominator, and those are going to be my asymptotes. So I have x equals 0, because I took the denominator and set that equal to 0. This is a vertical asymptote. So remember, asymptotes get graphed with dashed lines. Okay. My next step is to find any other asymptotes. So is there a horizontal asymptote here? What is the horizontal asymptote? 2, because I take my coefficients and divide. So then at y equals 2, I'm going to put another dashed line. What other side? Okay. Then I need to plot extra points. So I want to do 1 point on the left of my vertical asymptote. What number would you like to pick that's on the left side of that asymptote? Less than 0. What number would you like to pick? How about we pick easy numbers to plug in to -1? Because the larger the number, the larger my y value is, and it might not fit on that graph. So if I want to type this straight into the calculator, I can type my whole numerator in parentheses, and then I would want to make sure I type the right negative on the denominator. So I have 2 parentheses -1 minus 1. The negative with the 1 is the negative at the bottom of the calculator, and then I divide by -1. Okay, so this gets me 3. What? I typed it in the calculator. I didn't even do it in my head. Okay, so then I can go ahead and, because I only have one asymptote and I have a point on each side of it, one vertical asymptote, I can go ahead and sketch out this graph. I know it's going to curve around the asymptotes and not cross them, because that's the definition of asymptote. So this top one's going to look like that. And then my bottom one, or my right one's going to look like that. No, I plotted it at -1, 3. Because I plugged in -1. Okay, any other questions here? Okay, so same thing for number 3. I want to, can't simplify. I want to find my y-intercept. So I'm going to start off by plugging in 0. Which gives me 0. That is my y-intercept. Then my next step is to take my numerator and set that equal to 0, which I've already plotted, right? My next step is to find my vertical asymptotes. I need to take the denominator and set that equal to 0. So then I can factor this. This is going to be x minus 2 times x plus 1. Then I want to take each of those and set those equal to 0. Which my first one gets me x equals 2. And my second one gets me x equals -1. So I want to go do vertical asymptotes at those 2 points. Bless you. Then my next step is to find a horizontal asymptote if it exists. Does it? What is it? Why? Yeah, my denominator exponent is larger. So then I'm going to go put this asymptote in. And then I need some more points. I want one on the left side of my left asymptote, so I need it to be smaller than -1. What number would you like me to plug in? -2 is smaller. Okay. Then what do I get when I type that in? Negative what? Oops, if I type this in right. -1/2? Bless you. Okay, so -2, -1/2 is right here. So how is that going to curve? Up or down? Like, okay. Then notice I have a point right in between these two middle dashed lines. I need to do a point either to the left or right of this. I'm going to do a point to the right because I have 1. What? Yeah, there's a point right. Yeah. It's -2, -1/2. Because I plugged in -2 for my x. And then it's halfway in between 0 and 1. Okay? So then I'm going to plug in +1. Okay. So what do I get when I plug in 1? Negative what? Oh wait, -1/2, it's in between. So then I know it has to cross the x-axis, so it's going to start up and then kind of curve down like this. And it has to be in between my two asymptotes. Okay. Then I want to do one to the right of my rightmost asymptote, so larger than 2. What's a number larger than 2? 3, so I'm going to plug in 3. Okay, and then what do I get when I plug this in? Huh? 3/4. So in between 0 and 1. So this one is curving up. Questions here? It's about 3/4. So like in between 0 and 1. Okay, so I'm not giving you time to work on the next practice problem. I'm instead going to go over the last example. So does anyone still need more time on this one? Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about, and this is going to be on your test, is slant asymptotes. This occurs when the degree on the numerator is higher than the denominator. So I do everything the same except for instead of finding a horizontal asymptote, I find a slant asymptote instead. So we'll do all the other same steps. So we'll plug in 0 for all my x's. Okay, so what do I get when I plug in 0? 2. So this is my y-intercept. Then I want to take my numerator and set it equal to 0. Okay. So this factors to x minus 2, x plus 1. Then I take each of those and set them equal to 0. issue. Okay. So I add 2 over to both sides, I get x equals 2. I subtract 1 on both sides, I get x equals negative 1. Those are my x-intercepts. Okay. Then I want to take my denominator and set that equal to 0. Then if I solve that, I get x equals 1. So that is my vertical asymptote. Then for step 5, instead of finding a horizontal asymptote, this is where I'm going to find the slant asymptote, because my exponent on my numerator is larger than my denominator. And the way I do this is by division. Do you want me to do long division or synthetic? Okay. Questions on where I got any of my numbers for synthetic? Okay. So then I bring down that 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. And I get negative 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back with my variables. So I have x, no constant, and then a remainder of negative 2 over x minus 1. For my slant asymptote, I only care about the part before the remainder. So this x is my slant asymptote. So if I put this back as an equation, the equation of my line is y equals x. And then I want to plot that for my slanted line. Okay. So same rules as before. It still curves around asymptotes. So I have points on the left side of my vertical asymptote and on my right side of my asymptote, so I don't need to find more test points. I just need to create my curves. So this one's going to curve like this. And then the one on the right side is going to curve like that. Questions here?